Carl Jung said, "Awaken and shine your light for others to follow. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This is an invitation to move differently in the world, to operate from a place of deep knowing and alignment. I'm Adrienne McDonald, and welcome to the Source Code Podcast. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back. Grab a cozy beverage and let's get into it. Today's episode, we are going to touch on the Aries new moon solar eclipse, and then I'm going to talk about the energy mix for April. And before we get into it, March has been a lot. It's been a lot. A lot of people I've talked to have felt like, I was this person at the beginning of March and now not totally different person. There's been a lot of shedding, a lot of figuring out what you don't want in your life, but not super clear on what you do want in your life. Lots of major astrology that has happened in March and still happening in March with the solar eclipse and Neptune moving into Aries. So lots going on. So you're not alone. And this has been one of the more notable birthday months for me. And thanks for all the birthday wishes. I had a good birthday this week. So before we step into April, we get hit with a major activation on March 29th, which will be tomorrow if you listen to this, the episode drop today. We have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries, and it's conjunct the North Node. So the translation of this is all the stuff that you've been shedding all month or feel like you've been shedding all month, that is to prepare you for this knocking on the door, if you will, the pounding on the door, actually. It's the future path. It's that initiation energy. So Aries is a cardinal fire sign. And in the archetype of the warrior, the pioneer, the initiator. And this eclipse is not subtle. It carries the energy of bold beginnings, of, sovereignty, of radical honesty about what you want and what no longer fits. And you've been getting clear all month about what no longer fits. And think of this eclipse as your forging in the fire. So anything that doesn't feel authentic is likely to burn up. Anything aligned with what you truly want will probably be lit much more. It'll be brighter. It'll feel brighter. Now, you might not know exactly the entire path, because that's with eclipse energy, with the Neptune going into Aries, you might have an idea, but you probably don't have the entire path yet. So a couple of questions to ask yourself around the new moon is, where have I been hesitating to leap? Where am I being asked to lead to? And that primarily is starting with yourself, right? Where I have been outsourcing my power or waiting for permission, those types of things. Because this eclipse is not necessarily about doing more. It's about becoming more true, really getting down to true authenticity. And it really is activating those deeper, more true desires. So if you've been in a cycle of waiting or doubting or playing roles, this is really a chance to sort of drop that mask and go, okay, now this is really me. This is what I really want. And once you start moving into that, then the next step, not necessarily the entire plan, but the next step is likely to be a lot clearer, especially after Neptune moves into Aries on Sunday. Things start to get a little clearer. Now, keep in mind, we're still in Mercury retrograde, we're still in Venus retrograde, so give it a couple of weeks. You'll probably feel a lot more settled later in April. So let's move into the energy of April with the human design sun gates. So remember these Sun gates are, when the transit goes through the sun, that's the collective energy in the background. It's the background frequency. So we start off April in gate 21, and that is the gate of the hunter-huntress. And the themes of this gate are power and control and the right use of resources. It's about not control in the sense of like trying to control others or make things happen a certain way. It's more about like, I don't know, it gives like sacred authority vibes. And it's not about domination. It's the energy of being strategic and where am I over controlling out of fear? Where can I lead with more empowered restraint, right? So that's the vibe from April 1st to April 4th. So when we move into April 5th to the 10th, that is the gate 51. I have the gate 51. It is in my North Node, and it is the gate of shock. So shock doesn't always come from the outside. It can be a lightning strike of inner knowing. It's like a spiritual defibrillator. So when we have 51 going through, it's about surprising turns. There could be some emotional spikes. There's invitation to choose courage over comfort, because gate 51 is all about awakening. Like that, it's the shock to awaken. The person who channeled human design actually has 51 in his personality sun. So that's the reason why the language sometimes of human design is shocking, right? It's like, okay, I need you to wake up, right? Then April 11th through the 16th, we move into the gate 42, which is growth. It's about closing cycles. It's about expansion. It's about emotional maturity. This is like the full bloom energy. Like, what have you been cultivating that's ready to mature? Like, this gate wants you to like really nurture what you're trying to grow, and also grow it with integrity, right? So, and in the gene keys, this gate's shadow is expectations, and that's where we're disappointed a lot, is when we're putting our expectations on things or people. And the gift in this particular one is detachment. And like you can, I think especially with all that's going on in March and all the shifts that are happening with Neptune going into Aries, etc., it's about detaching from the way you think it needs to look like. I think that is a really good lesson of this particular gate of growth. And I think that you're really going to be asked, we collectively are really going to be asked to detach from the thing that we think the way it needs to look, and just trust. So that is what I think is going to be coming up about mid-April. And then April 17th to 21st, we go into gate 3. Now, I have gate 3 too. It is my, in Gene Keys, it's my EQ sphere, and which means that comes from your personality Mars. And gate 3 is the gate of ordering. And in the Gene Keys, the shadow is chaos, and the gift is innovation. And I know this gate really well because most of my life has been very chaotic, and I'm very comfortable in chaos. But it's am I operating in chaos or am I operating in innovation, right? It's one of the ones I keep going back to. Am I operating in the shadow or am I operating in the gift? Because the gate 3 is all about, it's also called the difficulty at the beginning in some versions of human design descriptions I've seen out there, because it's about bringing things into order through the messiness at the beginning, right? It's because if you think about innovation and some of the great things that we have done as human beings, it has been very chaotic in the beginning. It's been like, okay, this is crazy. Will this work or not? There's a lot of trial and error. And it's like this energy of cosmic compost, right? Messy and fertile and incredibly creative. And let's just try this. So the message in the 3 is, can you embrace the disorder and the uncertainty long enough to like allow the new life to form, like allow to get those little seeds going so they can grow into something that's like really cool and innovative and creative and etc. So that is the energy of gate 3. And then April 22nd through the 27th, gate 27, which is caring. And the themes are like nourishment and sustainable care. And this gate turns the focus to what and who you really want to nourish, including, and probably most importantly, yourself. Like, be mindful of overgiving or trying to fix things. This is not a week. Well, actually, there's never a week to go in and go play Mighty Mouse, like, here I am to come to save the day. But this is this opportunity to like really check yourself. Is your care coming from a place of where you have the capacity to do so? Or are you just trying to are you coming from a place of being more like, this is, sacrifice and martyrdom? And are you on the drama triangle? Like that, ask yourself that. Am I in the drama triangle? So be mindful of that. April 28th to the 30th, gate 24, which is rationalization. And I feel like this is a really great timing for this gate because it's very much like sitting in meditation and realizing like the things that you haven't been able to put together quite right from the last 2 months, and say, oh, okay, I see how this fits together now. And sort of let your thoughts cycle, but don't cling to them. Just like, because the insight is you're probably going to get a lot more insight the April 28th to the 30th, because everything is going to be, Mercury and Venus are going to be direct. Some of the planetary major shifts have already happened, and you start to clear things up. So I feel like later in the month, like after the 15th and whatnot, we're going to see a little bit more grounding. So Mercury goes direct on April 7th, which means that, your messaging is going to clear up, if you had problems with technology, the usual stuff, right? And it'll also probably clear up some tangled thoughts that you've had, and may enable you to communicate more effectively, right? And things really start to flow again after the 25th. So give yourself a few days to pass the station to really fully integrate. So Venus goes direct April 12th. And remember, all these retrograde periods are about review. So, with Venus, we've been really in it around our relationships with ourselves, with everybody else, right? So there's been a review of values and interaction and knowing your worth in relationships, what you want in relationships. So it's been a total rewrite with your relationship with self and with others. And so that goes direct on the 12th. As far as the moon phases, we have a full moon in Libra on April 12th or 13th. It depends on where you are in the world, but here where I'm at is going to be on the 12th. And then a new moon in Taurus on the 27th. So the full moon is all about balance, obviously, because Libra is all about balance. And then the new moon is going to be, I feel like it's in Taurus, right? So very like grounded intentions, very rooted in the earth, but I will talk more about that as we get closer. Now, monthly themes by human design type. Our manifestors, your themes are like initiation from truth, not from urgency. April's eclipse, coming in with the eclipse, and the energy of April really supports your natural role as initiator, but make sure it is heart-led and not reactive. And because we do have the gate of shock, shocks may come, but trust your inner authority to know when to act. And maybe use the last part of March here with this new moon in Aries to really focus on releasing people pleasing, because you're not here to ask for permission. Generators, you need to like tend to your sacred yes. And you probably, if you're like me, have been like in this whirlwind over the last 6 weeks and really not seen a whole lot of yes, but a whole lot of like the sacred no of, yeah, that's not for me, right? So as a generator, you feel the pressure to do, and we've not really had a lot of the ability to do. We've had to really like, I feel like most generators have had to really hold back because we've been in these retrogrades, these review cycles. But this is all about getting clear for the next phase. So don't beat yourself up for not doing, right? Because this is about the sacred no is just as important as the sacred yes. So wait for your body's like, yes, especially around mid-month. That is when things are going to like really start lighting up and start turning back on. Manifesting generators. Pivot with presence. Pivot with intention. This month invites growth, and we've got the 3, right? So we've got a little chaos energy going in there. But you guys thrive in that because you're like, okay, all right, I can do this. Like, where am I being pulled? Where am I being pulled? Just don't skip the integration. So honor what wants to close before you leap ahead, and you'll be great. Again, especially mid to late April, things are really going to start churning up again. Projectors, let yourself be seen, but not consume, right? Gate 51 may bring invitations that feel catalytic or like super surprising, but you got to stay rooted in your clarity and don't rush to respond. Like, you'll know, but we don't want to respond to like those boomerang invitations. We're like, oh yes, come. And then I don't feel like this is the right for me, because you say you want to hear what I have to say, but I feel like you don't have the capacity. Discernment is your friend, right? Really use this month to refine like your guidance and tend to your energy field. So reflectors, it's all about deep observation. This is a really highly amplified month for you because with coming off the eclipse and gate 51, this can feel like super jarring. So be very mindful of the spaces that you're in and spend time in nature, spend time in your own energetic aura, and use your rituals to release any energetic residue, right? So let's talk a little bit about the different different authority types, right? So emotional authority, always do not rush to decisions. Let your emotional wave guide you, because this month's going to have some, a little bit of like chaos energy, like I said. So it's like, okay, all right. So really sink into your authority. Sacral authorities, you gotta listen to your gut. You're going to be invited to grow and change and respond this month, but you gotta trust what really lights you up and let the rest fall away. Splenic, I think this is a great month to like really, really, really practice with your splenic if you're new to human design. because there's going to be so much going on that tuning into those whispers, that subtle instinct and that timing, this is probably one of the best months to get really in tune with that, because with Gate 3's chaos and with Gate 24's loops, that can naturally cloud your clarity. And by working with that energy so that you can tune into yourself makes the rest of the months so much easier, right? What feels safe and life-giving to you in the now is your North Star. So with ego authority, this month lights up your ability to lead from the heart. Just make sure it's authentic desire and not reaction, right? Declare what you want, but not what you think you should want, right? That you got to listen to that inner desire. Self-projected authority, your voice is your compass, right? With Mercury going direct, your clarity returns. You use your voice to process, and that can be a little challenging when Mercury's in retrograde, and then add the Venus in retrograde. So don't make decisions in your head, even if you're just talking it out in the mirror. Like your voice, it rings true to you when you hear the truth, when you're speaking it out. Mental environmental authority, find that trusted friend, talk it out. Who you talk to matters. Don't isolate. Again, with Mercury going direct, that's going to help you. And obviously with lunar authority, move with the moon. Move with the moon. And this month, you're like, especially with the eclipse season and whatnot, it's been a lot. But time is your ally. Don't rush. And let the cycle guide your clarity. So the month of April is like an awakening, deep integration, realignment with really what you want to create over the next year. You know, Aries season is it's the beginning of the astrological cycle. And because my birthday happens to fall around the spring equinox, this is really my beginning of the year. January is not. I winter in January and February, and March is when I really get going. And I feel like, especially this year with all the shifts, this is really when we're going to start getting going this year. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode. As always, would love to hear your feedback. I'm on Instagram and Threads and LinkedIn, mostly in Facebook. And if this was helpful, please share it out. Keep in mind, as each gate changes the sun transit, always put up a breakdown of the gate and how you can work with that energy on Facebook and Instagram. So follow me there. And remember to find beauty every day and seek the magic in the mundane. Thank you for listening to the Source Code Podcast. If you found this episode insightful and feel moved to, please leave a review and share it out with those you believe will find it helpful. You can check out my website for more information at www.adrianmcdonald.com. And for more of my more regular musings, connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. I hope you have a beautiful week.